My girlfriend said no to every other guy that approached her, all except me. So in this video, I'm going to run you down the major differences between what happened in my approach that has allowed me to end up dating her, being in Tenerife right now, shooting this video for you on my birthday, versus the other guys out there that when they approached, she just didn't take an interest. And the way that I'm going to do that is, first, I'm going to talk you through that initial encounter. What exactly did I do to take someone from stranger to being here today? You might see her in the background somewhere, she's waiting for me. Versus, and second, then I'll break down the differences between what was so good about that versus what other guys did incorrectly. So, let me run you through it because it was nearly a year ago now. And I went out to a city because I was back in England and I was in a small town. I knew not to go out there because it was never going to be able to meet anybody. So I went to a city with the sole intention of meeting somebody. I was stood there just on a market square, looking around, who can I talk to? And I saw this really pretty girl walk out of a charity shop. And I noticed, I was like, okay, I should speak to her. But she quickly walked off the other way up the street. And I was like, oh, damn, I've got to go catch her up. So I was doing an approach that a lot of guys can be quite scared of. Like I was going up, moving from behind, and I sort of moved around her because say she was maybe like, she was in front of me, but I got to where we're nearly level, but I didn't stop there. I managed to get forward in front of her, put out my hand. So I was probably still about sort of 5 yards away. I just put out my hand and I said, hey. I walked over and someone said hi. She paused, she said hi back. And I said, I just thought you looked awesome today and I wanted to introduce myself. She took the compliment, we did a name exchange. Hey, my name's Andrew. She gave her name. I asked her what she was up to today. And she was simply going out in that town centre looking for clothes for an outfit for a university event she was going to. So I was like, cool, okay. Mind if I walk with you for 2 minutes? And we set off, we ended up walking up. I started to learn a little bit about her history, where she's from. She was asking about me, what I was doing there. And we just talked as we started to move into the shopping centre. We still seemed to be getting on, engaging. I was asking her questions, telling her about myself. We moved through a few of these shops, but until we ended up running out of them. And I just stopped her and said, well, I know you've got a bit of free time because I knew she was just out shopping. I simply said, do you want to just get a peppermint tea? I asked coffee. I don't actually drink coffee, but turns out neither did she. I was like, hey, do you want to just get a coffee, get to know each other very quickly? And she said yes. We ended up going in there, chatted for 2 hours, set up a date for the coming week, and we've been dating ever since. And that was all a smooth encounter that I went through with her. And now I want to clarify 4 distinct things that I did to make it way, way smoother versus all the other guys. Because funnily enough, 2 other guys that day had already walked over to her. And one of them was in another store, one of them was at a train station, and she just didn't engage with them whatsoever. And she hadn't even before with a guy that had approached because she's quite a shy girl. But when my friends have asked her, why did she speak to me? She said something just clicked. And to be honest, that's female code for the fact that I just did a few things quite clearly. When I went over, I ensured she had visibility of me. As I walked you through there, she was in front of me, so I made sure to go for quite a wide berth until I entered her peripheral vision. I put my hand so she would see that and allowed her that time to realize something was happening. Someone is trying to engage with you. The worst things guys do is catch a girl off guard. If you surprise her, jump out at her, startle her, it's never gonna work. She got that time to adjust because she saw me, she saw I was smiling, I was walking over, engaging, and I simply said hi. And then she was able to really have the time to adjust, because men have this problem. Like, we're out there hunt and seek looking for a girl. She's in her own girl world. She is wondering what she's going to watch on Netflix. She's wondering about what outfit she's going to buy. If suddenly I just come out of nowhere like, hi, I want to meet you, she's going to be like, what the hell is this? I eased her through that transition of something was happening. And most importantly, I allowed her just to visually see that. So this is a important key step that a lot of guys that she said have gone up to her before, even one she said that was kind of all right and might have given a chance to, she said that when he came over, he was all very rushed. He startled her. She was just a bit unsure. And any kind of uncertainty, confusion, women tend to default to no. Then, secondly, I set quite a clear frame that I was only coming over and just I was walking over, and when we were engaging, one of the first things I said was like, oh, hi, introduce, compliment. And then I simply said, oh, mind if I walk with you for a couple of minutes? And what this did is it gave her an out. So if she was clearly not interested, she could have taken that out. She could have been a bit like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I can't. But I also clarified that, hey, if I walk with you, you've now not got to encounter the problem of he won't leave me alone, which is one of their biggest fears. That, oh my God, if I speak to him, he'll never leave me. I was like, hey, I'll just walk with you for a couple of minutes. To her, that's a really low-level request that she can kind of easily get on board with. It's like, okay, 2 minutes, and guess what? If you're getting on really well, you don't have to leave, but you just allow her to have an out, which is such a key factor. One of the things that I teach to my clients a lot is it is not your job to convince anyone to be interested in you. It's simply your job to show who you are as effectively as possible. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not trying to convince her to like me. I'm giving her the option. If she's not interested, she can have that option to be like, sorry, I'm busy. But she didn't take that. We continued to engage. The third thing that I did was I showed clear interest. I went over and just said that I thought she looked awesome today. That was something where I wasn't like, hey, do you know what the time is? Do you know where to go to this? Which just kind of sets it on this kind of manipulative, dishonest front. And you don't have to always commit with absolute balls to the wall, you look so beautiful, because that's a lot of pressure as well. But I was just unashamedly like, hey, I thought you looked awesome. I wanted to introduce myself. And that was a clear sign of interest. She knew what the premise was. She wasn't confused to what was happening. I removed that uncertainty again, so she was able to understand clearly what was going on in the interaction. So there are a clear 3 different things that I definitely did. The fourth one, which I've luckily now just remembered, because you guys have got me shooting this on a beach at midnight, and the fourth one is I didn't lurch for a number. This is one of the things that newbie guys definitely get in the habit of they might get excited that things are going quite well. Oh my God, she's interested. Oh, I don't want to mess this up. I'm just going to ask her for a number. Or even the worst mistake, which she's told me has happened to her, a guy that leads with this, that walks over and simply says, hey, can I get your snap? And it's like, oh my God, why? You don't know her, you've not engaged at all. What trust have you built with this? Is the worst thing ever. Throughout that entire process, we ended up walking together, going through the shops, going for this sort of 2-hour-long peppermint tea thing. I didn't even ask for a number then. I asked her to go on a date, because if you get her to agree to a date, which is what you want anyway, the number comes by default. You don't need to go for a number and then kick the can further down the road to try and coordinate a date later on. I just asked for a date. And then right at the end of the interaction, just before we were about to depart each other, I was like, oh yeah, I need to get your number. And we coordinated from there. Too many guys jump the gun before they've built up enough trust of trying to ask for the number. These are the 4 differences that I've broken down between what I did that allowed me to be the first guy that she hasn't rejected from an approach versus all these other guys that tried and were unsuccessful. So if you now want to practice your skills, now you can look to where to meet women, the ideal locations that I've used, that I get my clients to go to. And if you want to know where they are, check out this video here where I list the best places for you to meet women offline away from dating apps.